just to start, just your thoughts on your staff overall to start this season and maybe some of the walks issues going on.
Yeah, no, it's growing. I mean, I think that we've done a good job of not giving up hits. So if you're going to be bad in an area, you don't want to make sure that you're good in the other area that matters. So and limiting base runners is a big part of not giving up runs. So walks have been high. I think it's something that's indicative of a really young staff. And so I think for us, the biggest thing moving forward is continue to grow. And, I think as their experience gets better, I think they'll learn how to wiggle out of certain counts and get themselves, in positions where they're going to be more successful.
How difficult is it for you, and I guess you guys as a whole, to try to go through those ups and downs while knowing that Pac-12 play is coming right up?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, but it's why we do it. I think that, it's something we talk about all the time, and the challenge and the competition aspect of this is why we all signed up for it. So for me as a coach, it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows all the time, but I think that's why I'm doing it. I'm having fun with it, and these guys are young, and they're growing and they're getting better, and you can see it with their confidence in what they're doing. And for the most part, it's just about learning how to prepare and take care of yourself throughout the week so that you can go out there and be successful on game day.
With some of those young guys, like we've seen the flashes of how good their stuff is, but then the walks, I know that's been the focus, but the potential of some of the young guys, can you speak to that a little bit? Just like the stuff that they have and how they could be really good in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at a guy like Grayson Grensel and Matt Grabman, those two guys are really getting outs with fastballs. And so when you can really pitch off the fastball at this level and as you climb levels, you're going to be successful. And that's what's brought them success so far this year. So, just tightening up command, here and there and being a little bit better with a secondary pitch could make those guys very dominant. And that's what we're hoping for as they grow into it, over the next several years. So, those things stick out to me with those guys. You look at Leo Ullman, who's a freshman, to me doesn't act like a freshman. I think he's probably got a little bit different perspective. His brother pitches in the big leagues with the Phillies, and I think that can help when you're around that and growing up around that. And so I think that, he's given us kind of a different type of a presence as a freshman pitcher that, has been nice to have.
With Grabman specifically, this is about his start on Sunday. Did you guys go through some sort of change in mechanic? It looked like his hands were a little bit higher than where he had been in previous starts. Is that a new thing that you're trying out?
Really, the main focus was with his lower half and getting him on time. And I think you could see with the velocity, it ticked up. He was up to 94 on Sunday, was it? And, that's been the biggest change he's made over the last, and he made that change before the Washington State weekend. He's on a pretty good run since that. And those are the types of things you deal with, with young guys. It's going to be inconsistent sometimes with a delivery, with a pitch, whatever. And so you're helping them grow in that process to really become more consistent, because we all know that's what's going to breed the most success in this game.
You mentioned earlier, like, it's not always going to be, I think it was, you said butterflies and rainbows, but two of the butterfly and rainbows on the staff, and Malaris and Dallas this season have been, spectacular to start. Just what are your thoughts on them, and what have you seen from them and their growth out of the pen?
Older guys, in my opinion, those two guys burned their boat on having a great year, and they're doing everything that they possibly can do. And I think their veteran and experience that they've had, both of them are fifth-year guys, allows you to know what to do, leading up to games, and allows you to know how to get out of a situation when you're in a game and how to make a pitch. They've had just so many pitches over the course of their career that allows those guys to know exactly what they want to do in certain situations to be successful.
How valuable is it to have the experience like that in the back end, like in some pressure situations you're going to get into?
Well, it's huge, and it's huge for our team to know that part of the game is secure. And I think, as we talked about it, this is those guys' this is their last whack at it. They don't have another year, and so I think, for one thing that we've talked about as a pitching staff is honoring that, with the fact that those guys, they want to see how far they can take it, and we need to make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can, because that's what they're doing with their prep work and everything that they do leading up, to getting ready to play, making sure that you're, learning from those guys and taking what they're doing and putting it into your game.
What went into the decision to move Mercado back into the rotation?
I just felt like it was the right time. I had a conversation with him before the season. He's one of our best pitchers, and he's a total stud when it comes to being a team player. He started opening day. We felt like at the time, with us being so young, we wanted to get him in the bullpen because it just gave us, as a coaching staff, some security knowing that we had another veteran guy that had been successful in the bullpen. And so I think we're at a point now, some of those other guys have grown, that I mentioned earlier with Grinsell, Grabman, and some of the others that we feel more comfortable starting him, because he's definitely capable of doing both. And I feel like, we can get good innings out of him on the mound as a starter, and that helps us better at this point.
How about Jace? I mean, what do you see from him? Where do you want him to go now moving forward?
Yeah, I think when you're talking about Jace and Logan, you haven't seen their best baseball yet. And they've kind of been hanging in there doing their job, but I think the best is yet to come with those guys. And both those guys saw a significant velocity increase from last year to this year, and I think anytime you see that, it can be a double-edged sword. And so I think you got to learn how to work with that new velocity, and I think as the season goes, they're going to continue to improve in that area.
How do you try to improve in that area and work with the velocity change and try to continue to throw strikes even though you're throwing it harder? How do you try to limit that?
As far as the velocity change, I mean, a lot of that has to do with what they're doing in the weight room, and I think that's what makes our situation special here. We have Daryl Hunter, who is a full-time baseball strength coach and has a baseball background, was pitched professionally in the Rangers organization, and so he knows how to train a pitcher and has done a really good job with bringing guys up over the course of their careers here. And you're going to see some ticks in velocity and just getting them to move better as they go down the mound and be more efficient, and that's really what leads to velocity and command improvement as you get older.